Welcome to another episode of NPC Players Pulse. Today, we're talking all about Mario Kart World. I don't know what we're doing with Thursdays quite yet. We're going to look a little bit at maybe our backlogs and games we're currently playing just to try to get some maybe some good recommendations out there of games that nobody's playing at the moment. But we do have one main topic tonight, and that is going to be Mario Kart World. And Ask the Developer article came out from Nintendo, and there's a lot of juicy details about Mario Kart World. So before we jump into it, let's hit the intro, and we'll see you right after. All right, Mario Kart World. Ask the Developer. This is volume 18, and this says part 1. So we're going to be getting lots of Mario Kart news over the next couple weeks as we wait impatiently for Switch 2. I'm so excited to jump into Mario Kart World, but there's a lot of cool stuff here. A lot of cool stuff about Mario Kart World. Now, before we jump into it, I am going to just mention some of the stuff I am currently playing. I have not been playing a lot. I have been very busy. But the little bit that I'm playing, I try to get some Smash. Usually when I'm uploading the podcast, I try to get a little bit of Smash Bros in. Okay, still trying to get my Mario into Elite, and I need to get a little more consistent to make that happen. But then I've still been playing some Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, and that's been super fun. I just have not had big chunks of gaming time, so that's why that's a bit on the back burner. Yesterday, of course, playing Mario 3 and playing Mario 3 throughout the last week for our game of the week was very fun. Last night, I jumped into NSO and started playing a little bit of Tetris on the Game Boy. And it was mostly just to go back and listen to the sounds and kind of just take a little trip down memory lane. I really enjoyed doing that, honestly. And so, but it also got me thinking, and maybe we can kind of work something out together. But I thought it'd be fun on top of Game of the Week. Maybe there's something we do to compete together, right? So maybe it's like a Tetris high score or something along those lines. Maybe a speed run of some kind. I don't know. But let's discuss it in the Discord, and just to continue adding to the fun that we're having with actually gaming. I think the biggest thing after doing this for so long, it's great to talk about the news all the time and all the things that are super hype, but I just want to get us gaming, doing the thing that we all love. And so on top of having great conversations and chatting with you guys, I love it. So Joey is here. He says 2 more weeks. Holy cow. Only one Thursday left, you guys. One Thursday. Crazy. I cannot wait. Well, as people roll in here, let's start talking about Mario Kart World and this Ask the Developer article. And kind of just going through it. One of the first questions, it says, to begin with, could you tell us about this new game, Mario Kart World? It says, of course, Mario Kart World is the first new game in the series released on a home console since Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which launched around 8 years ago. This game was set in a large, seamlessly interconnected world. In addition, races as in previous games, where you compete 3 laps of a course, you can also race on the roads that connect different courses, or even take part in knockout tour races that span the game's world. In this world, you will be able to experience changes to the environment. This includes time shifting between day and night and weather changes. such as rain or snow. On top of races, there will also be a mode called free roam where you can drive around a seamlessly interconnected world however you like it. So nothing that we didn't know already. And a few more people jumped in. Trent, hello, hello. Nady Nay, what's going on? Gaming since the 80s. I'm doing amazing. Welcome on in. So again, nothing that we really didn't know at this point. What I think is super cool, I want you to pay close attention. All right. So there's another question here. It says, I'd like to ask about the title first. Was it always the plan to call it Mario Kart World rather than Mario Kart 9? The answer, if the idea had been just to add more courses, then I think we would have called it Mario Kart 9. But this wasn't our approach this time. We wanted to take the series to the next level, so we decided to drop the numbering this time and go with a completely new title, Mario Kart World. So we'd already added Mario Kart World to the concept art from the early stages of development. And if you can see this photo right here, in the article, you can actually see that there's two different variations. There's a you can see like the checkered flags and a very different text, and then you can see a very typical Mario Kart text in the main on that main poster there. So and there's also a very long bridge kind of running between the worlds. So very cool. Like, very cool, but I kinda love where they landed with all of the fonts and everything like that. So, continuing on, and I don't wanna, like again, you guys can go and read this if you want, but I wanna kinda just, touch on a handful of things, here and there, and, and kinda just look at some of the highlights, okay? And, so here we go. Uh, looking at Okay. So it says that's how you set out on your journey. Speaking of which, what did everyone else think when you first heard about this concept? So the first developer says, I was involved, looks like Sato is the name. I was involved from the start of the Mario Kart World project at the time. There were a lot of games out there set in vast worlds. I've seen and heard about the difficulty of developing such games, so I was feeling the pressure and wondering if we could really do that with Mario Kart 2. Also, we've always considered it important for the Mario Kart series to run at 60 FPS, and we believe split screen multiplayer to be an essential element. And I was excited, but at the same time, I felt like it would be tough. And so this is just kind of interesting, getting a peek inside the mind of the developers as they were looking at how vast this was going to be. Okay. They get into some talks about sound. There are some particular things I want to camp out on, so that's what I'm kind of jumping around a bit. Uh, this is one of the things because I've kind of scrolled a little bit on this. I think this is fantastic. So here's one of the developers saying, on the other hand, the direction of the visual design changed drastically for Mario Kart 8 based on the concept of vehicles transforming to be like hovercraft. We opted for a futuristic and sophisticated design, whereas in this game, since you're driving through all kinds of locations in the world, we wanted to convey the feeling of adventure. We also wanted to create a lively, bustling atmosphere, even in a vast world. And we were talking about how we wanted to recapture that feeling from Super Mario Kart. And this is something I have said from the get go. From the get go, that this game looks like the artwork that I have tattooed on my arm. And I love that. I love it. Don't get me wrong. There are elements that I've mentioned, like the cart, the main cart, not a super huge fan of, but my pipe frame is there. So it doesn't matter. I will say, like, I was able to get the Mario Kart Lego set and like the one that just came out. And I love the standard cart. Like we've been seeing this standard cart for a very long time. And so it's a little bit sad to see them go away from it, but we're gonna find out why shortly. So here we go. Um, it says to recapture that feeling from Super Mario Kart, the first title in the series, during those discussions, someone on the team mentioned the key phrase playfulness. And I think this is good. I think this is good. And so it says from there, we focused on creating a chaotic vibe where anything could happen, like the lively and bustling atmosphere where lots of characters are in a pack jostling for position. The interviewer goes on to say, indeed, Super Mario Kart gave the impression of drivers being crammed into narrow courses. Looking at it from that perspective, this game does have rounded edges in its visual design, like the original game. The developer goes on to say, the characters in Super Mario series have a rounded look. So we wanted to give the vehicles a rounded design too, to match their appearance. We also wanted to give the characters a livelier look even while they were in their vehicles. So we put everything together in a way that gives off a sense of playfulness through the combination of the characters' rounded designs, soft facial expressions, and rich movements. This is, I mean, you can look at 8 and it is sleek. That's the best way to put it. They have it in the article here. It says sleek, futuristic, aerodynamic with edge, tuned for the road. And then the evolution into world, playful, handcrafted touches, tightly curved frame, all terrain. It makes sense. It makes sense. I just love that what they're doing is giving us just so many options. We still have so many options, and that is fantastic. I want to jump to chat real quick. I see you gaming since the 80s. I will touch on that probably tomorrow. Trent says, my 8-year-old daughter and I have been smashing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in readiness for Mario Kart World. We cannot wait. I love that. That's so fun. Cryptic says, Zelda Breath of the Wild devs went back and took inspiration from Zelda NES, and now Mario Kart going back to its first entry. We might have something special here. Yes, that is a great way to look at it. Joey says, I love everything Mario Kart World is giving us except the lack of Diddy Kong Racing. I know you want your Diddy. Hopefully Diddy shows up. Cryptic asks, do you think, Josh, that we get another Mario Kart in Switch 2's life, kind of like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and improves on World? I don't. And only because I believe that Mario Kart is going to be a platform. And I believe that there will be support for this game for a number of years. I'm really I think the fact that Nintendo is packing this game in essentially and giving it at a discounted price kind of leads me to believe that this game is going to have a very long tail, and that they're going to drip feed content. There may be paid content down the road. We don't know exactly, right? But it really lends itself to lots of additions to the world. And so I think, just like we saw, they essentially built on Mario Kart 8 with Deluxe and then doubled the amount of tracks. I think that's what we're going to see happening here. I don't think we will see another Mario Kart until the next console. My gut feeling. If I was wrong and they did something that was completely, different from this, that's not a bad thing by any means. It's just my gut feeling is all. So I do want to take a look at the video here, and it's just the intro screen, and wow, there's that car just drove onto the beach. That's crazy. If you guys are only listening, Mario is driving kind of on some almost sandy roadways, and it's just a short little video. And so I want to get it back to non-full screen here. So looking back at the question, it says, going back to the lively, bustling atmosphere you mentioned earlier, this game lets up to 24 players race each other. This is a big increase over the last game. What was the number? Was this number decided at a relatively early stage? They go on to say, yes, the previous game was up to 12 players. We decided fairly early that this game would be up to 24 by creating long routes in a vast world. You could end up with players spread out in various places, which could diminish the sense that you are racing against each other. So we figured that by increasing the number of races, you'd be sure to see see some competitive action here and there. But maybe that's a bit simplistic. Another developer chimes in and says, at the time we were developing Mario Kart World for Nintendo Switch, we were analyzing from a calm and collected programming perspective whether it would be possible to accommodate 24 players in game development. You first finish making all of the different elements and then optimize them to run on the system. But then trying to accommodate 24 players, we had to make all kinds of processing optimizations right from the start as we were making it. So basically, they're saying it wasn't going to work on Switch 1. And they were excited for Switch 2. Continues on here. It says when we were developing for the Nintendo Switch system, it was difficult for us to incorporate everything we wanted. So we were always conscious of what we were giving up in return. We discussed things like toning down the visuals, lowering the resolution, and we even considered dropping the frame rate to 30 FPS. It was a tough situation. That would have been crazy if we've been playing Mario Kart in 30 FPS. I'm so glad they didn't. So this is some kind of cool insight here. So what did you decide to give up on in the end? They say, well, we couldn't give up on anything. And they all laughed. And then they go on to say, we worked on it while kicking the can down the road in terms of deciding what to give up on. And at some point we knew it was going to get messy. But as we decided to release Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course, we thought that would give us a bit more time to continue the development. That's when the conversation of moving it to Nintendo Switch 2 system came up, and this suddenly opened up a bunch of possibilities on what we could do. It was truly a ray of hope. So very, very cool. Taking a look at chat here. Let's see. Joey says Mario Kart will be like a live service game for them. Any game or event, it will have a presence in this game. That is the hope for sure. Crypto says sucks. I won't be able to experience the competitive action because I'm always going to be first. There you go. I like that. Hello, Sunshine. Welcome on in. Cryptic says, yeah, Mario Kart needs to be 60 FPS minimum. I'm hoping we can see 120. I'm really hoping that we get to see 120 this time around. So very interesting to hear, and this is from inside of Nintendo, listening to them bring up the fact that the Switch was holding us back. And when you look at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's a gorgeous game. Could they have created Mario Kart 9 that was just kind of almost a copy and paste, if you will? Maybe some new gimmick or whatever? Sure. But now we're in an open world Mario Kart game, and that's not like something we have experienced before. One of the things that I want to chat about is, I believe on the Nintendo Today app, they showed off more. It's either on the Nintendo Today app or it might be here in the interview, and I'm skipping ahead a bit. But I want to take a look at this, and because I really want to hear what you guys think. So here it is. It's adorable, right? It's the cow riding in a truck. And so here we go. Now that you mention it, some of the new characters in this game seem like unlikely picks. I was surprised to see Cow, one of the playable characters. And they said, that's right. In previous games in the series, Cow was part of the scenery or an obstacle on one of the courses. But when we were working on the early version of a course in this game set on a ranch the players can drive through, this sketch came up. And so the sketch shows a cow driving a truck. It says, oh, I thought Cow was just on the back of the truck, but he's actually driving. And they go on to say, each new Mario Kart game features new characters to race with, but since we added so many in the previous game, we wondered where we could go from there. And then one of the designers came up with a silly sketch of a cow cruising along, and I thought to myself, this is it. So that's when we realized the course surroundings actually contained a lot of untapped resources. And there's a beautiful picture of the cows in the field, and the game honestly looks really really good. So I don't know if they I think they showed the video on the Nintendo Today app, but one of the things they kind of mentioned is that the story mode, there's more to it than than what we've seen so far. At least that's the way they word it. So, uh let's see. I want to see. I'm kind of skipping around. Yeah. Yeah. I think this is the area. So, I'm going to jump up to the question here. It says, so rather than explicitly showing the way with arrows alone, you design courses to be intuitive, creating a sense of um, um, continuity while still making the drive experience pleasant. But isn't there a difference between where beginners get stuck versus where advanced players get stuck? Um, they go on to say, I've been working on the Mario Kart franchise for a long time, so I think I've got a good sense of how advanced players think. But newcomers to the series or those less familiar with video games might get stuck in places that we as developers didn't expect. So, when designing gameplay in any game, not just this game, it's important to have less experienced players test it out. Some members of our team aren't that good at Mario Kart, so we marked them out as our favorites and handed the game to a developer with just the right degree of unfamiliarity and said, "Off you go." We then made them play with us and we were like, "Oh, so you don't get that. Interesting." This is so cool to see, kind of what went into to testing and just the thought process of the thought process behind creating and developing Mario Kart World. Continuing on, they said it's true. Sato-san is one of my favorites. In particular, we felt we needed to see people like him play P-switch missions, which come up in this game's free roam mode. And I see Rust Belt Kid is here saying, "Who is Mario?" Great question. And so, continuing on, it says, unlike traditional courses, we've accumulated a lot of know-how. The P-switch missions were our first attempt in this game at something like this. So we particularly valued the feedback we got from those who played them. We got people who aren't good at Mario Kart to actually play it. And we were like, yep, we thought that part might be challenging. By repeating this process, we made improvements so that even those less familiar with the games can enjoy this title. Let's see. P-switch missions involve going to places you normally wouldn't, or repeating actions you wouldn't often perform. But when you go back to racing after completing missions in free roam, you realize, hey, I know the route. I know another route here. And you feel like you've improved a bit. So that's kind of cool that they're using the P missions to um, kind of obviously explore, but maybe even find different lines while you're racing on certain tracks. Continuing on, it says in Mario Kart, we think it's best for players to discover different ways to play as they drive around. So one of our goals was for players to naturally pick up skills as they play through the missions. Our commitment to approachability extends beyond the game itself. Mario Kart series often brings people together during the holiday season who wouldn't usually play games. So we designed the menu screen so that you can select number of players and get started right away. The world's much bigger in this game, and there are loads more things you can do, but we didn't want it to become so complicated that it takes ages just to start a game. Then they go on to like the smart steering assist, and they're showing like controlling like the Wii. I just want to see if they mention, and maybe they don't, but kind of on this on the topic of the P switch missions. Okay, again, I think it's the Nintendo Today app. I saw a tweet from Stealth about it, showing the video, and basically you hit the switch, and then you've got to navigate through all these cows as fast as you can to get to the objective. And they're talking about it uh, like there's depth here, right? And that to me doesn't show any depth. It still doesn't show any depth. It's it's very, very tiny mini games that you're competing in over and over again, that if there isn't the right like carrot dangled on the stick, people may lose interest. And so I do have a little bit of concern when it comes to, free roam and how much fun is it going to be? Is that somewhere where a lot of people are going to are you going to spend a lot of time there? And chat, feel free to let me know. Like, what do you plan on doing the most when it comes to Mario Kart World? Now, I will say this, something kind of hit me because you guys know how I love competing. You know that I love to run tournaments and get you guys playing and interacting as much as possible. Well, I think we're going to be able to do a season for what is it called? Knockout tour, is that right? I just want to make sure I get it correct. I don't have it on this page actually, but I think it's the knockout mode, right? We could do we could essentially do a season of this to where we have certain days that are our race days and we all compete, and the more you win, the better you do. Everybody keeps a tally of their scores. And at the end of the month, we potentially do like a trophy ceremony or just have a little bit of fun with it. But I'm really excited for some of these modes and how we're going to be able to take things to the next level. Now, another thing they talk about here is that you can customize your cart with these stickers. Why hasn't this been talked about? I saw I saw other I saw other creators tweeting about this too. I think it might have been Nintendo Land and wondering like why wasn't this talked about? This is a great feature. This is a great feature. So let's backtrack before we do. Attack the Backlog is here. You guys make sure to sub to Attack the Backlog. It says, let's go. Hit the like peeps. I was kind of hoping you'd get tasked to hit as many cows as possible, not avoid them. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Joey Pitt says, I'm looking forward to free roam and following the road signs like GTA. Oh, that's amazing. Gabe says, do you think Mario Kart World will have other Nintendo IP and DLC? Seems weird that 8 Deluxe had Zelda, Splatoon, and Animal Crossing, but no third party shown so far in World. I've mentioned this before in other episodes and other shows, but I think what we're seeing in Mario Kart World and the way this world is built and how it's looking and some of the levels that they've already shown and based on the characters that we're seeing, that we're not only going to see other IP make their way into this game, but they may be like up to 8 tracks per like DLC if that's the route it goes. And so you'll have like a Zelda DLC and it's going to have Link, Zelda, Ganondorf, the champions, the races of a goblin, right? Based on what we're seeing right now, where it's like they're grabbing every character you could think of and putting them in this cart. So I think it's not only going to happen and very possible, but I think it's going to be very fun because when they finally do Metroid and we get to see a Metroid driving around in a cart, who's not gonna love that? Like I think it's gonna be great. So I would not worry about them not adding more IP. I think Splatoon's gonna get, but I think there's a very real possibility that they're going to be strategic, right? And so, like, around the launch or after the announcement of Splatoon 4, they may say, and out now or coming soon, DLC for Mario Kart World Splatoon themed. And then you could race as the salmon, you could race as like what is it, Grizzo or whatever. Like there's so many different characters that they could choose from, the little sea anemone, and they could pack the house, get Pearl in there, and all of the hosts that they've had. Again, it's really endless. Animal Crossing, same thing, like so many characters. So I think that there's going to be a lot of Nintendo. I think at the end of the day, this is still going to um it's I totally lost my train of thought because of reading chat, but I think that it's going to be something that continually grows, and that by the time it's okay, I got my thought back. By the time it's all said and done, this will be Nintendo Kart. Like I know it's called Mario Kart World, but a lot of people were calling for Nintendo uh Kart, right? Like Smash. I think that's what this will be by the time it's all said and done. Um Taking a look here. Gabe says maybe all the champions around the release of Age Calamity. Possibility there for sure. Attack the Backlog says, interestingly, I've heard they could continuously update the map kind of very loosely like Fortnite. The moment I saw that it was a map like that, I was like, oh, this is a continent, right? Like they can continue to build this out. And I think when it's also they probably have a semi-completed world with Kirby Land and Donkey Kong Land and Metroid and Kid Icarus, Star Fox, Splatoon, Animal Crossing, like maybe it's just concept art, but I would assume they've probably talked about this kind of stuff. And I think it's gonna be pretty amazing. So let's see. Joey says, yeah, there will be a Kong update for July for Bonanza. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's get the let's start manifesting. Nady Nay says, so pretty much not $80 for the full game is what you're saying. Just a bare bones game. I kid. No, I like, and again, I'm in a different place. I come at this from a different, a bit of a different place from maybe some people. Mario Kart, no matter what, if they stick to their formula of single player, like Grand Prix time trials, online multiplayer, I'm set, right? Like I'm good for a very long time, a very long time. But now we're also going to be seeing um, the open world aspect. There's a lot of cool stuff here. So Sith Lord is here. What is going on? Welcome on in. And Sith Lord says 2 weeks away. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Gabe says, have they said anything about regarding online play, like whether or not there will be ranked or a battle pass or anything? They haven't. They haven't. And I'm kind of I'm a little baffled by the messaging, because there are still some elements of this game that, like, the missions, and again, they're talking about the missions like, oh, it's more than just going and collecting coins, and then they show you driving around cows. And again, to me, that's not all that's not all that exciting. I don't want it to sound like I'm being critical of it, but like when it comes to a game like this, the things that I see, if they're gonna go open world, there needs to be some like if I'm in open world and Luigi pulls up next to me and gives me the Luigi death stare and it says hold down X to race Luigi, I want to hold down X and race Luigi, right? Like that all of a sudden, like if that's one of the ways that you could unlock characters or different costumes and things like that, that would be super fun. That's a very like Forza thing to do, right? Like we're seeing Mario Kart bleed over into Forza, but how many of the good ideas from Forza are they going to be adding into Mario Kart? And again, I'm mainly speaking about the open world aspect. Like I feel like in modern gaming, it's not necessarily enough just to be like, hey, there's missions, go ahead and go do it. And the mission is bounce between 3 power lines while you collect 10 coins. That can be fun for a little bit, but the screen we're looking at right now, there's all of these different designs that you can customize your cart with. Also super cool, by the way. I cannot wait for my pipe frame to be covered in stickers. Like I cannot wait. And then I'll probably rip them all back off because it won't look like the original pipe frame. So I'll change it. But I do want to know, like, what are we unlocking in this game? What what is the purpose of the missions? Is there a purpose of the missions? How's Rainbow Road unlocked? That scene where we saw, like, you guys heard me talk about it on another episode, like, we've seen, like, that it looks like a mushroom-looking thing from, like, Rosalina or something. It comes flying in, and then it kinda, like, switches to a cutscene. You see Rainbow Road essentially be get discovered, but, like, this is a racing game, and don't get me wrong, little missions are super fun, but I'm really hoping that, like, remember in the trailer or the direct, they showed they were talking about, like, go hit a P switch and collect coins or collect gold medallions. And the medallion, when it was collected, showed a silhouette of Wario. What if, when you're out driving, you find coins that unlocks a race? Because if you think about games like Smash Brothers, you have to fight that character, beat them, and then you unlock them. And I know Mario Kart's tricky, a bit tricky, because, like, you've got to have a very solid base cast, because everybody wants to play with their favorite. So if they have a decent solid base and we have to unlock a lot of stuff, it gives reason to jump into that world. That's the thing that I want more than anything that will really make Mario Kart World a home run, is if the missions have purpose, right? We're in 2025, we're too far beyond just, like, let's collect a handful of coins and call that good. What's the purpose behind it? And I know that may sound a bit strange, but I don't think I'm alone in this. And especially if they're going to want to make this appealing to the younger generation who's, you know, getting that dopamine hit from battle passes being completed and that kind of stuff. I'm not saying it needs a battle pass by any means, but unlockables are a great dopamine hit. So give us as many as possible. Um, let's see here. Let's see. Nadine says, need the billboards to change to upcoming games and stuff like that. Make it lively. I think that'd be cool. Keep updating small things here and there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if this game sells like the last one, it could definitely be used to market new games. And imagine, imagine they do it. What I'm saying is right, in my opinion. Metroid Prime 4. We don't have a release date yet. What if the first DLC for Mario Kart World is Metroid? And what if, don't drop the DLC right away. Make it something. Make it something that coming soon. Metroid tracks. Like, start teasing it even in game, getting people hyped. What's Metroid? What is this? And I do have a quick side story about Mario Kart World, you guys. In our world, in our gaming world, like, we pretty much stay up to date on everything that's happening, especially when it comes to Nintendo, right? But I was getting coffee at a Wawa, and this guy noticed my shirt and my tattoo. And so anytime somebody says something to me about gaming, I always ask, well, do you play? And I was wearing a Mario Kart shirt. I think it had my blue shell on it. And he's like, oh yeah, I love Mario Kart. I said, oh, did you pre-order the new one? And he's like, no, I didn't pre-order it. I don't typically pre-order stuff. I said, well, you know that this is an exclusive to the new Switch that's coming out on the same day. And his response was, oh, I had no idea there was even a new Switch coming out. And so it's sometimes eye-opening when those kind of experiences happen, because we are in our little Nintendo bubble. We are hungry for every bit of Nintendo news. What is happening within the company? What are they going to be? When is this releasing or that releasing? But there are plenty of people out there just living their lives that don't have any clue that the next Mario Kart isn't even available yet, and may not even, and then if they do see it, they may be under the assumption that it's going to run on their current system. Because when I said, oh, you're going to have to get the new Switch to play it, he said, I didn't know there was a new Switch, you know? And so that to me is that continual uphill battle with marketing and making sure people know and understand. So jumping in a little bit more. It's past my bedtime. What a great name. Says, hi, Josh, longtime podcast listener. Happy to catch the live a couple times lately. So glad you're here. Thank you for jumping in. Cryptic says, missions sound fun initially, but other than unlocking my favorite characters' costumes, I don't plan on doing the 100 plus that they mention. Driving around cows isn't going to make me a better racer. And that's true. Now, they did say that they are hoping that as you do these missions, it will help you maybe find new lines. So it sounds like the missions may be maybe kind of interlinking with the racing aspect of things to try to help you improve or find different places to go while you're on those tracks. But we'll have to kind of wait and see. Sunshine says, more like a one and done for me. Joey asked, do they ever show what hitting the question blocks do? Nope. Not that I'm aware of anyway. And Sunshine, I'm with you on that. Like the missions are going to be interesting. I'm hoping, guys, fingers crossed that it's not just a collectathon, but if it is, that there are some really cool things that get unlocked. That's how you win at this game of like open world. In a game like this, do some cool unlockables. Just keep the unlockables coming. Lady Nate says, yeah, the open world for me seems like the lowest point, but you know how I am. I have open world fatigue. Oh, for sure. For sure. And I want to see what I really want to see. And I think what all of us really want to see is we want to see them knock this out of the park, right? We want to be able to say to our friends and family, yo, every aspect of this game is amazing. And I highly, highly recommend it, right? Whether you're doing the open world or you're doing the racing, I hope due to like whatever, maybe there was limitations or whatever the case may be, that it's not going to just be this like lackluster open world experience. I want there to be, I want there to be hype moments in the open world that people are tweeting out videos and that there's that kind of like word of mouth that's just kind of going viral because like, I can't believe they added this to Mario Kart World. It's crazy. And just make it something that is super, super fun. That's my hope. So taking a look at more chats here. Gabe says, I was hoping we start with a tiny roster and cart selection. The more to unlock, the better. I completely agree. Cryptic says, maybe the missions is how we unlock carts and characters instead of just getting a certain amount of total coins. And again, think Smash. You can unlock characters, I believe, in multiple ways, X amount of matches or jumping into the, isn't it like the training or something like that, where you can kind of run through characters faster. So unlockables are great. I think we all agree there. Gabe also agrees with Cryptic. Let's see, Joey. Yeah, I like the idea, but done right. Not a billboard in Mario Kart World that has an ad for Switch 2. No. I'm literally saying like, show something Metroid related. Mention Metroid Prime 4 because I also want to see Metroid Prime 4 do very well, right? Very well. So, Ty says graphics look amazing. Can't wait to get it into handheld mode. I'm very excited too. Cryptic says, do we know if we can do these challenges missions with friends? That could add an extra layer of fun just to grab a snack and knock some out. And I believe that is the case. I believe like, and again, it's an assumption that we'll have to confirm down the road, but I believe if you're in open world, you're in open world. So does that mean if you're in my world and you start knocking out missions that you're only taking out stuff for me or helping move my quests along or whatever the case is? Or do you do it for yourself as well? Don't know how they're handling all that. And we'll get to find out and it'll be exciting. But I hope it's done correctly. I would love to be able to go to people's world and help like what a fun community event if we're like, yo, it's Saturdays are going to be World Day, and for the next like 2 months, where we jump in and we all just help each other, like knock out as much as we can in each other's worlds. That to me sounds like a good time. And fingers crossed that if you find something in your friend's world, that it would unlock or be collected in your own world as well. That's always the hope, uh, for me anyway. Um, Joey says, but I couldn't do a mission like drive through the cows, be like the NES championship, and you drive, and you challenge friends to see who can do it the fastest. This, Joey, exactly this. It's time trials, right? Like, throw up quick leaderboards. Now I'm trying to collect the coins as fast as I can because I want to see if I can beat everybody on my friends list. Love that kind of stuff. That's what makes NES World Championship shine. Also a game that needs more content. No question there. So just some really, really cool stuff. I'm super, super hyped for this game. I know that talking about the world aspect of it and the missions, I may come off like a little bit negative. It's really not my intention. I'm literally just going off of what I'm seeing and how I'm feeling about it. Right. And I want there to be those moments that are going viral, those moments that make people go, yo, I can't not play this game. Think back to games like Helldivers, even Breath of the Wild, and some of the crazy stuff that people would do when those games were at their peak and everybody was creating videos and tweeting out what they were doing in those games. It was like so much word of mouth. So much word of mouth. And that's what I want to see with Mario Kart World. I'm gonna wrap up here and just say that I cannot wait to do the seasons of Knockout Tour with you guys. That is going to be so much fun. I really hope that tournaments show back up. That anything that was amazing in the last game, I hope it makes its way back with a day one patch. And so fingers crossed, we're gonna see like tournaments and things like that in this game very soon. Cryptic says, I want to drive through cows, Koopas, Goombas, etc. for these missions. Let me live free and show these minions this is my world and you're stuck here with me. The call came from inside the house. That's the role Cryptic wants to play. So, and I see Sunshine saying, have a great night, everybody. Yes, you guys, thank you so much for being here live. If you're listening after the fact, y'all are amazing. We've done an episode every night this week, and we got one more tomorrow night. And I've had requests via the Spotify comments asking that we do a prediction show on Smash 6 on what we think is going to happen. So get your thinking caps on and let me know what you would love to. And I want to get a little bit crazy. I kind of have a gut feeling on what's going to happen with Smash 6, or if you want to call it that. But I want to have a good time just chatting about what could be. You know, I don't think a lot can happen right now, knowing that I believe Sakurai is working on Kirby Air Riders. I mean, obviously stuff can be happening behind the scenes with other companies, but we're just going to have to wait and see. So you guys, I see so many kind words in the chat. You guys are the best. Thank you for, this doesn't happen without you. Like it doesn't. These Player Pulse episodes are the best when you guys can be here and let your voice be heard. So just a quick reminder, our game of the week is Donkey Kong Country 3. I am going to be jumping in tonight. I have asked the guys if we can do NPC tonight. Johnny is in Super Nintendo World, so he wouldn't be able to make it, but I'm waiting to hear back from the other two, and we'll see if we get an episode in tonight. So stay tuned to the Discord because I will let you know. Joey's asking if I want to race. My current work schedule has me at work at 5:30 in the morning, so I'm actually heading to the gym right now. Otherwise, I would love to race. Soon. Hopefully maybe this weekend we can get a few races in on stream. So you guys again are amazing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.